Okay, good afternoon. Sorry for the wait. We are here this afternoon to talk more about the DC preferences that have been put in place by the Australians, which obviously will provide more favorable terms and conditions, or in fact more favorable access for garment manufacturing, for want of a better phrase, for Fijian products into the Australian market. For those of you who may not necessarily be aware, it allows us now the ability to use, for example, wool in our products, which is previously not allowed under the Spartaka Agreement, to be able to source wool from outside, from other countries, included in the garments that we have here, and then sell it as a Fijian product and be eligible for the benefits that were applicable under Spartaka. Now, Australia is using the DC preferences. Here with me, of course, is the two representatives from the private sector who will talk more about it and some of the opportunities that may arise from it. And what we wanted was obviously to create a particular level of awareness about the opportunities that can very potentially arise from these new preferences that have been put in place, and which Fiji really should take advantage of. Because if we do not take advantage of it, it will mean that we won't be able to create the more jobs that is very much a opportunity foregone if we do not act now. And a lot of it, of course, requires things like training. And I'll get Kalpesh Solanki to perhaps kick off and maybe say a few words about that. Kalpesh, thanks.
Thank you. Well, folks, it's definitely an excellent start to the year, because this has been something we've been working on for quite some time, and I must thank AG and our Minister for Industry and Trade and PS Shaheen for the work that they've done and helped lobby together with the industry over the last few years to get Australia to agree to improving the market access that we've had over the past few decades. With this change from the STCF scheme, which was a very complicated and time-consuming and scheme which had some limitations, to this new DC agreement, it allows more simplified market access into Australia, and opens up a new opportunity of tapping into market areas which we couldn't do earlier under the STCF scheme, particularly in the wool products, which originally weren't eligible under the STCF scheme, now will be. We will be able to go to our customers and ask them for business that can be brought into Fiji instead of putting it elsewhere, like China or Bangladesh or India or wherever they've been producing right now. Obviously with that we will be able to have a greater chance of increasing jobs. As you know, our industry is mainly women, and this will definitely be a great thing in the coming 12 months for the businesses within the industry to employ more people into their companies and increase the production and help the exports grow for Fiji. So this is a very positive thing that has happened with this change in the market access that we've had. With that, we will also be looking at helping improve our training and our skills within the industry. As you would appreciate, new areas that are opening up would probably will require different skill sets, and as such we will need to address that, and we will definitely be working with the government to look at ways to address the training needs and this upskill of our workforce. And again, that will also help us employ people, most of them who will probably not have been in the workforce before. So we can take them in for the first time and enter the workforce, therefore helping contribute to the economy and obviously to the well-being of the country. So I think that sort of kind of sums up a few points that I had to say. So
sure. Thank you.
Minister, and PS who put the work into it and put this through. And also we thanks for the Australian government to help us to get more employment opportunities and marketing access to Australia.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Yunus? As you know, in the past, now what, 5 years or 4 years, we've been giving 5 years, the marketing access budget to the textile and clothing and footwear industry, where we've been giving them $100,000 a year to be able to market Fiji in terms of garment manufacturing and footwear manufacturing, but obviously the traction has been more in the garment manufacturing side of things. As was highlighted to me earlier on, that the Australian garment industry is worth about $2 billion. Imports is worth $2 billion imports. We only export from Fiji to Australia about 60 million Australian dollars. So obviously there's still a number of enormous opportunities that still out there that we can take advantage of. Fiji is placed, geographically in a much better position, say, compared to other countries that export their garments to Australia. As was highlighted, training is very, very important. The garment industry in Fiji, I suppose, prior to 2000, when we had all the preferential access into USA, employed something like 20,000 people in Fiji. Following the removal of those preferences, they started employing about 4,000. It's now gone up to about 6,000 now. So 6,000 people, compared to the drop it had in 4,000 over the past number of years, it's gone up to 6,000. With this new access that's available, and obviously the textile and garment industry will be working very hard on this, and some of them already are talking to various customers. They obviously will be able to will be looking at increasing the production. To be able to increase production, you need people to be able to produce that production. Training is very, very important. In some countries, for example, as I was just told, in countries like Sri Lanka, etc., people actually get diplomas and degrees in garment manufacturing and training, cutting, all of that. Fiji does not actually have that. In order for us to be able to position ourselves and also increase the image of the garment industry, we need to provide that type of training. And it is a very specialized area now. The Fijian garment industry, as you know, following the removal of the preferences in 2000, has become a lot more top end of the market. We don't do huge bulk productions like Bangladesh or China, make 10 million pieces of one shirt. They do now more specialized, uniforms, specialized clothing, niche markets, 300 pieces of a particular type of top, whether it's bikinis, whether it's uniforms, whatever it may be, but it's more targeted, more specialized, more top end. And obviously that's something that Fiji can take even further advantage of, with wool now being included under the DC preferences. So we need to be able to also talk to, for example, the new technical colleges that we'll be setting up. Hopefully we'll be able to offer some courses in that, so people can get into some specialized training and to be able to come and work in the garment industry, which will also increase or build up the reputation of the garment industry in itself.
Sorry, just apart from the garment sector, is the ministry also lobbying, giving the same kind of lobbying from the garment industry to the other sectors, focusing on the Spartica agreement?
Well, obviously we need to improve the conditions.
They'll enjoy the same preferences.
They'll enjoy the same preferences and the DC preferences that have been given. So everybody will enjoy. It's not just specific to garments. Sorry, I didn't understand quite your question. But thank you for highlighting that. I mean, we had raised some of these matters with the Australian Minister of Foreign Affairs last year, and we're glad to see this one come through, because this is one of the issues that we had raised. There are three specific issues that we had raised. One was, of course, this of the terms and conditions of Spartica. We had also the issue about biosecurity, where Fiji was listed as a gas country, giant African snail country, which we are not. but they had inadvertently put Fiji as a gas country, which has huge ramifications in terms of the cost of our exports. The third issue, of course, is the DTA, the double taxation agreement with Australia, that we had signed way back. Last time it was reviewed is somewhere back in the 90s. So that needs to be reviewed again, and we're hoping that that'll be the next issue that we'll get some, not just clarity on, but some favorable conditions to be able to, ensure that we get investment by Australians in Fiji a lot more attractive if the DTA is a lot more modern, and also captures the taxation regime in Fiji too.
So is this $100,000 market access budget likely to increase now that the DC scheme is?
It makes it a lot easier for them to market themselves now.
Yes.
So probably won't need more money for that.
If I can add, one of the ways we've been able to, because not only the industry was around 4,000 workers, our exports actually dropped to around 85 to 90,000, a million, sorry, at that time as well. With the marketing grant that was given to us, we went as an industry to Australia and worked very hard to increase our awareness of the industry in that market, and as a result, we've managed to increase the exports to around about about 105 to 110 million right now. And with this DC agreement, we should be able to increase it further. And as AG highlighted, there is still a lot of scope for more exports to Australia. We're also looking at the region as well, not just focusing only, but Australia will be our primary market. But with the region under the MSG trade agreement, we should be able to diversify some of the areas that we export to. So it has been a very important support from the government to the industry in terms of our ability to market and take advantage of opportunities out there.
I think as we discussed, there are more some opportunities in New Zealand too,
Yes.
which we need to pursue. They're still stuck on the Spartaka arrangements, so hopefully New Zealand can come to the party too and be beneficial for them, and of course Fiji too.